Welcome back. The next theme is called Making Good Decisions. Do you recall earlier in this event, I told you that there would be a couple of surprises? Here's one of the surprises. We're going to start the Making Good Decisions theme with this little story. There is a woman who is a teacher, and she has a name, and she works in the United States in a city, and she teaches children. And she knows, the way we know, that it's important to make good decisions. And this teacher in a city observed that there may be some dialogue that could occur around the lunches that we provide children in school. And she started to eat school lunches and blog about them. You follow so far? The thing is that she can't really just blog about what she really thinks about some of the lunches, because it's important to her to keep being that woman with that name, with that job, teaching those children. So she has a second life. And in the second life, her name is Mrs. Q. And she has a blog, Fed Up with Lunch. And she has an email address, which begins Fed Up with Lunch, because she was fed up with lunch. And she eats these lunches, and she takes pictures of them, and she posts them. And I'm making this sound really mysterious because it's fun for me, but not because she wants it to be really mysterious. This is really important to her, and it is to a lot of parents throughout the country. So we really wanted to share this story of nutrition and children and innovation and health with you. We wanted her to be able to share the story with you, but she has this second life. So we thought it would be fitting, and she agreed to present her story from the Mayo Clinic Conference Center in the virtual world called Second Life. So ladies and gentlemen, from the Mayo Clinic Conference Center in Second Life, it is my great privilege to present to you Mrs. Q.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Q. I am the anonymous educator eating school lunch every school day in 2010, taking a cell phone picture, tweeting and blogging about it on my blog, Fed Up with Lunch, the School Lunch Project. I may be the only person invited to speak here who potentially risks her job by doing so. I worry that by blogging and exposing the school lunches eaten at my school, I put my job on the line, and that's why I'm anonymous. But when I got the incredible invitation to speak about making good decisions, I had to come. The Mayo Clinic made an avatar for me and is shooting me in Second Life. I think it's cool, especially the way my hair blows around. Today, I'm not going to tell you what to think, but instead, I'm going to share my story and let you draw your own conclusions. Behind me, you see the images of school lunches I consumed over the first half of 2010. That's 101 school lunches, and counting. I have started up again this fall eating school lunch every day, just like my students. I am not a subversive person or a rabble-rouser. I am not a nutritionist or a food expert. I am just a normal person with a regular job. But, you know, after I saw and ate school lunch a couple times last year, a year ago, I felt that something was wrong on a gut level. I had to act on behalf of my students. You know, I couldn't talk to the principal about my concerns because school lunch and the cafeteria are not under the Department of Education, but instead they're under the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA. I couldn't pick it in front of the school or the district office building because the rules that allow the lunches you see above aren't made at the state or local level. So I came up with a new identity, Mrs. Q, and the blog Fed Up with Lunch to make a public record of these bizarre food-like lunches. Over the past 9 months, aside from summer, I've eaten a lot of processed food, including processed texturized beef with soy, hot dogs, bagel dogs, processed cheese sandwiches, close to 40 fruit cups and fruit jellos, and school pizza every week. Everything is trucked in frozen and reheated in large ovens. 95% of food brought into schools is frozen. I have eaten more than 60 individual chicken nuggets and just under 100 little tater tots in the first half of 2010, easily more than I have eaten over the past 10 years of my life. A parent recently contacted me to tell me that at her child's school, the first week of school, so just a few weeks ago, the menu had chicken nuggets Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That is not moderation. You know, my school menu also has contained various things, including chicken patties, chicken nuggets, chicken tenders, and popcorn chicken. Having eaten all four numerous times, I can say that although they have different names and are in different shapes, the inside is still spongy and uniform. Chicken nuggets contain 50% or less real chicken. It's chicken foam, also called mechanically separated chicken, and I dare you to Google image search that. I eat school pizza about once a week. It's not the school pizza that you might have eaten years ago, served by a very nice lunch lady off a large baking sheet. And I need to say, my lunch ladies are very nice and wonderful people. Pizza like the stuff I eat every week reportedly contains 62 ingredients. The reason I know that is not because the ingredients list was published online or given to the parents, because it isn't. But an anonymous lunchroom manager across the country emailed me to tell me. I feel a little weird eating pizza with random stuff in it. And I even ate a processed peanut butter and jelly graham cracker sandwich that was more than an inch thick, like an inch and a half thick of peanut butter, and it was frozen and it crumbled as it defrosted. But you know what really bothers me is that my students eat all this stuff so much, because they come from homes that are below the poverty line. The percentage of students receiving free and reduced meals is over 95% in my school. I have found that students coming from low-income backgrounds rely on the school for more than just instruction. For many of my students, school lunch may be their best meal of the day. And the standard I apply to school lunch is, would I let my son eat that? No. So why does our country feed that food to kids who desperately need better food? I have to say, though, you can see that some of the lunches aren't terrible. I like the pasta and the chili lunches. That's not a surprise because I'm into comfort foods at home. Veggies like peas, broccoli, corn, and carrots are on the menu too. Some of the lunches even have a fresh piece of fruit. All of the 101 lunches my students and I ate checked the box nutritionally because the calories, they filled empty tummies for sure. But I thought that medical research determined that all calories aren't created equally. I assumed that a line could be drawn from food to obesity, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and other serious illnesses. Yet many adults are making poor decisions on behalf of children to save money in the short run. I believe that many of my students don't have access to fresh, unprocessed food, and that they look to the school for a good food model. Getting chicken nuggets, hot dogs, bagel dogs, popcorn chicken, hamburger patties, and pizza at school is not moving our country forward. I get a lot of reader email, and people all over the country confirm that this is the same food served in their child's cafeteria, just in different packaging. I work in an elementary school where children can't choose what they eat, but are instead given it. From what I hear, it's different at the high school level, where kids have more options and more than one lunch line. High school students email me to thank me, and they also tell me they eat nachos with processed cheese every day for school lunch for years. High school cafeterias serve pizza and fries every single day. Another reader contacted me to say that at their high school they had a salad bar, and I was really excited to hear that because it seems like so few schools have this great American invention. But at this particular school, at the end of the salad bar, there was cold pizza. So at this school, you could eat pizza with a side of pizza every day. Looking at the pictures above, Did you notice that some of the lunches the kids and I ate had the odd grain thrown in? Like 2 slices of bread with chicken nuggets, or pretzels with a piece of pizza, or a cookie with a processed cheese sandwich? Well, that's because each meal needs to have the required number of grain servings. A chicken nugget meal doesn't have any grain, so you need bread. Per the USDA regulations, they need to offer about 2 grains a day, sometimes more, and pretzels and cookies count. So where's the vegetable in some of those lunches, you might ask? Every single one of the lunches that the kids and I ate had a veggie, per the USDA. Tater tots and fries are considered to be a vegetable by the USDA. Who knew? All along you thought potatoes were a starch. The meat and meatless requirement? Well, that's the mechanically separated chicken foam, or beef processed with soy fillers. Meatless usually refers to some kind of processed cheese. The fruit? Thankfully, I did get fresh fruit. It seems to be about half the time. But I'd also get fruit cups, which may or may not contain added sugar, and fruit bars, which are frozen juice bars, often containing high fructose corn syrup. I call them ices because the kids think of them as big treats and they're eaten first. The milk, well, I'm lactose intolerant, so it's not in all the pictures. The kids get a pint of regular chocolate milk every day. Of course they choose chocolate, which you may not know contains high fructose corn syrup, and combined with everything in it has more sugar than a can of soda. Let me tell you about one of my former students named Jennifer. Jennifer received free lunch and ate the lunches you see above my head over the course of her 20-minute lunch period. Unfortunately, Jennifer's 20 minutes included lining up time, and depending on how things were moving, she had anywhere from as much as 15 minutes to eat or as little as 5. I would estimate that usually she had between 9 and 13 minutes to eat. That doesn't seem like enough for someone who is a child. I don't think that kids need less time. I think they need more. Let's pretend she only had 10 minutes to eat. Jennifer faces a choice. What is she going to eat? She'll down the milk and eat the nuggets and the tater tots. On a different day, she'll eat the fruit icy, the chocolate milk, maybe a couple chips. Most of the students then drink the fruit cup, and the bread or grain is often thrown out. Of course, the veggies seem to never even get tried. How can she perform well after eating this lunch? And even thinking about it in another way, how can even the best instructor teach Jennifer something new after lunch? I know that after lunch I get a lot of glazed looks from the kids, and then later I get jumpiness. So what did Jennifer learn in the cafeteria last school year when she ate 180 school lunches? I worry that she learned that lunch is meaningless. Given the low quality of food and the sparse time in which to eat it, she learned that the school agrees. I should add that at my school, there is no recess. Nothing. You might think that this is just something confined to my school or my district, but the journal Pediatrics found in a 2009 study that 30% of third graders have no recess. Through the blog, I learned from parents, teachers, administrators that even when recess is on the schedule, it is often bumped for testing and other school activities. I have learned that it's more important to test than it is to go outside and run around. So another message that my former student Jennifer absorbed is that free, fun exercise has no place in school. I believe there is value in the ritual of eating school lunch at school. For our country, structuring school lunch in this way with an abundance of processed food and no time in which to eat it is a huge missed opportunity. I'm encouraged when I read about other countries with fewer resources than our great country. These countries include Italy, France, Korea, Croatia, Japan. They're able to provide their students with real food cooked on site. I have found that in these countries, kids participate in the making of food, thereby learning about nutrition, and even cultivate school gardens. Returning to my student Jennifer, I forgot to tell you, she is obese. Her mom works in a big fast food chain, just like most of my students' working class parents. She feeds her daughter fast food for dinner and sometimes for breakfast too. What chance does Jennifer have if the school doesn't provide that daily good food model? If I teach her academic skills but pay no attention to her health and ignore her weight, Am I not doing her a disservice? If I were to even if I were to teach basic nutrition, which is out of my scope, but let's pretend I did. When she heads into the cafeteria, she learns a different lesson. We must make good decisions on behalf of children. We must act to fix school lunch for kids, especially those who live in poverty. As it currently stands, we send the message to students like mine that food, health, nutrition, exercise have no value in the school academic environment. Repairing school lunch just might help alleviate our country's skyrocketing healthcare costs as our children grow up into people who eat food like this, get sick and weak due to battles with obesity, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and other illnesses. Thank you so much for listening to my story today. It has been such a pleasure to talk to you.